Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio.
Today's franchise interview shout-out goes to the Source Direct. Source Direct is an inventor's one-stop shop. Source Direct eliminates the disconnect in dealing with different companies from each phase of development and marketing. Instead, Source Direct can manage every stage of the process from the drawing board to the customer. Go to thesourcedirect.net and find out how you can get started. That's www.thesourcedirect.net.
Franchise interviews from Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia. You're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews. Welcome to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship. Listen to interviews with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys. And now, welcome your host, Marty McDermott, and Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 10 years now, we've been asking the entrepreneurs who own one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and we have a great show today. We're meeting with Bill Redfern, the founder of Global Franchise Opportunities. And Global Franchise Opportunities includes internationally recognized brands such as A Buyer's Choice Home Inspection, iHandyman, and iCare Intelligent Home Care Solutions. And we're going to talk to Bill about that in just a moment on Franchise Interviews. So stick around because we have a great show.
The Stone Coat Franchise Opportunity. Are you looking for a unique and lucrative franchise opportunity? If so, take a look at Stone Coat. With a patented process which creates a true stone finish on almost any wall or ceiling, Stone Coat is a true game-changing product in the multi-billion-dollar construction industry. Stone Coat is applied faster, cleaner, and cheaper than conventional quarried stone, which saves both time and money. With advantages in remodel and new construction of both residential and commercial projects, Stone Coat is a true crossover product. The Stone Coat Franchise Opportunity provides a low startup cost, low operating expenses, comprehensive training, ongoing support, and no royalty payments. For more information on the Stone Coat Franchise Opportunity, go to www.stonecoatfranchise.com. That's www.stonecoatfranchise.com, or call us at 972-380-2700. That's 972-380-2700.
Franchise Teacher. Would you like to know how to franchise your concept or grow your franchise business?
Meet the experts at Franchise Teacher.
The goal of Franchise Teacher is to teach, coach, consult, and advise. The team of experts at Franchise Teacher will evaluate your business model and present you with a winning business strategy.
Franchise Teacher will help you decide whether or not your concept works and if it's franchisable. Franchise Teacher is proud to have over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors.
Franchise Teacher are developers of over a dozen franchise systems, which include brick and mortar as well as home-based concepts of nearly 3,000 combined franchise locations.
Whether you need to add more units or get more customers, Franchise Teacher can help. We will teach.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn our proven system.
Coach.
Franchise Teacher will help you provide a game plan to succeed.
Consult.
Franchise Teacher will make sure you stay on track.
And advise.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn from our over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors. Take advantage of our free, no-obligation phone consultation. Simply go to franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
That's franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032. 3032.
Hi, this is Connie McDermott, Administrative Assistant for Franchise Interviews, LLC, and you're listening to Franchise Interviews.
Franchise Interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to a very special edition of Franchise Interviews, where for over 10 years now, we've been asking the entrepreneurs one. I'm your host, Marty McDermott. I'm the president of Franchise Interviews, and as we were saying earlier, we have a great show today. We're meeting with Bill Redfern, the founder of Global Franchise Opportunities, which includes internationally recognized brands such as a Buyer's Choice Home Inspection, iHandyman, and iCare Intelligent Home Care Solutions. Hi, Bill. How you doing? Welcome to the show.
Hi, Marty. Thank you. I'm doing very well.
Oh, that's fantastic, Bill. We always like to ask our guests, where are you calling from today?
Calling from Fort Lauderdale, Florida today, Marty.
Oh, fantastic. How's the weather there today, Bill?
Oh, we're freezing. It's terrible.
I imagine so, right?
Where are you located today, Marty?
I am in Easton, Pennsylvania, and it's the same here, Bill. It's pretty hot here today. It's probably not Florida
nice.
weather. Yeah, but
nice.
It's nice.
Well,
There's a little breeze. Yeah, we're right by the Delaware.
The humidity kicked in Florida several weeks ago, and everybody's just dying, quite honestly. Yeah.
I can imagine. I know. Well, I like to go to Florida, of course, during the winter months. Of course, February. February is always a brutal month here in Pennsylvania.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So I love the Northeast. I came from Eastern Canada originally, so I'm used to it.
That's right. I remember reading that in your background. And your background is very interesting, Bill. Because when I was reading it, I said, this is probably, looking at your background, this is what kind of led to Global Franchise Opportunities. Maybe you could talk a little bit about the history of Global Franchise Opportunities and how it all came about.
Sure, absolutely. My background, I actually grew up within a construction business family entity, and that led into a career in real estate and property management, operating my own investment property. Right. And that ultimately, through the real estate office and real estate franchising, led to seeing the need of good, consistent home inspectors and home inspections for consumers, safety's sake and well-being, and that led to the creation in the mid-2000s of a Buyer's Choice Home Inspections. We had started in the Canadian market in Eastern Canada. Within 2 years, actually just a day less than 2 years, we became the largest in the industry in the Canadian market with a Buyer's Choice. Wow. And then started our international growth. We'd entered the U.S. a little bit in those days, but of course the economy in 2009 and 10 was falling off the cliff here in the real estate sector particularly. So over the following years, we've grown quite well. We're 230 odd franchises now with a Buyer's Choice in 19 countries. We've added 2 other brands in recent years, iCare, which is in the home care sector, and iHandyman services, which complements the Buyer's Choice nicely in the real estate sector, both performing basic maintenance and repairs for people. And all of our opportunities are home-based. And when we create a Global Franchise Opportunities, basically is a marketing entity, Marty, to drive the growth of all 3 brands. And it's working out quite well for us.
It's fantastic. And it seems like, in doing the show, over 10 years now, Bill, it seems like there's always that demand for, we find anyway that, a lot of our listeners are always interested in those home-based opportunities, which I think is fantastic. How do you typically describe, if you were at a franchise show, Bill, and someone came up to your booth and said, so what do you guys do? How do you typically distinguish the 3 different brands from each other?
Well, our brands are all relationship business, and they're operating from a home office. So it depends on what the person's desire is, what they really want to be doing, and how they see their day. Whether they've been self-employed before, we specialize in taking people from punching a time clock somewhere to becoming, with that entrepreneurial side to their personality and teach them how to market and manage the business. And whether they want to be dealing with staff or more of an owner-operator, either on their own or with a small staff. But by working from home, you're really eliminating a lot of the risk because you're not dealing with lease space somewhere. You're certainly eliminating or minimizing your staffing requirements. So how we describe the business is a home-based business where we offer full training. No background is required in any of our 3 brands. Complete training is provided. We offer complete marketing and support, both online and in person. I guess we built the brands really on our fantastic support with the franchise partners, and their references are really how most of our franchise partners come to be. And that's really the relationship. We've built a customer service-oriented relationship with the consumers. And, we still believe in those old-fashioned values of people answering their phone and doing business, in a fair manner. And we've built just fantastic relationships, and the brand awareness in any of the markets we're in is very positive as a result. So we're very pleased about that.
How's Global Franchise Opportunities using technology today in the business, Bill?
Well, it's interesting. Over the course of 10, almost 11 years now that we've been in the franchising business, when we started, if you went into a given market, whether it was Erie, Pennsylvania, or wherever it may be, and if you're looking for potential franchise partners, we would look at running a small classified ad in the business opportunity section of the newspaper. And that's been one of the major changes in franchising is, of course, now everything is online in terms of marketing as well as support. And additionally, for our franchise partners, everything they do is online driven. We operate completely paperless offices now as individual franchise partners. In a Buyer's Choice, for instance, the home inspection franchise, they do their reporting, they do the appointment booking, they do their billing, scheduling, royalty reporting to us, to home office, including all of their support and marketing based activity is all online. They quite literally operate a paperless offices, and the other brands are very similar. So it's quite interesting how technology has evolved in our industry just over the last decade.
That's terrific. You're mentioning the industry, Bill, and it seems like you're part of, several big industries. I mean, are there any hard numbers as far as, where those industries are at today?
The home care is certainly the biggest of the 3 industries that we're touching on, and eye care is a fairly new player. We're just entering into that market and starting to really pay some attention to that brand. It's got an outstanding potential. You've got a $20 to $22 billion estimated market just in the United States with home care. Some of my recent travels, we had opened up India in the past year with a Buyer's Choice. And we've now got some interest in eye care in India, which was interesting to me. So just in the U.S. alone, you're looking at $20 billion. It's the nearest estimates. The home inspection business it sits around the $5 billion mark in the United States. And the handyman industry appears to be just under that, somewhere around $4 billion.
That's terrific. What's been the most interesting thing that's happened to you since launching Global Franchise Opportunities, Bill? I mean, it seems like, you've been all over the world, and studying your background. You're in all these different countries. What's if there is, it's hard to narrow it down to one thing, but does anything stand out?
The most interesting thing for me, it's a one-on-one relationship with each franchise partner, and without question, the most interesting thing for me is watching a new franchise partner when they have what we refer to as that aha moment. Yeah. And they go through their training, they go through the opening nuances of opening their business. They go through that steep learning curve. Actually, there's about 3 different learning curves in those initial phases. And when they finally settle in and get marketing the business and start producing some revenue, and they have that aha moment where they call me one day and say, it worked.
Right. Of course. That's a wonderful feeling.
You're right after all,
That's terrific.
Sometimes during training we'll have a little fun and we'll say, I don't know if I can do that. I don't know if I can ask people for business. And, so we have some fun with that. But that's always the biggest take home for me is the satisfaction of people using what we do and seeing success. So I find that very interesting.
Yeah, that is a good feeling, isn't it, Bill? I teach for Kaplan University, one of the bigger online universities, and when you see a student have that aha moment, when the light bulb goes off, it's a great feeling, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Particularly when it's something that we've developed,
Of course.
So that, and of course we like seeing the customers respond to them with these fantastic testimonials. That's, again, very, very interesting to see.
That's terrific. What types of characteristics, then, do you look for in your franchisees, Bill? The majority of our listeners, we call them aspiring franchipreneurs. It seems like most of them are interested in getting into franchising. What characteristics, then, do you look for in your franchisees?
It's a great question. And with our businesses where we provide complete training, we really don't look for someone whose industry is background specific. And like hiring staff within my office here, I really look at the person's character. And I would pick my ideal prospect for any of our brands as someone who's wanting to be in business, willing to learn, obviously willing to apply effort, willing to work.
Right.
And the other thing that's kind of interesting, even though you're buying your own business, is the willingness and acceptance to follow the model that was designed. And
so important.
We've seen this, yes, absolutely, and we've seen this repeated over and over the years. If they just follow the plan, it really is almost foolproof, And if they're not seeing the success that you would like them to achieve, it almost invariably turns around to, what are you doing or not doing? Let's go back and follow the plan, right?
That's terrific. Yeah, and that open to learning is very important too, isn't it, Bill? Is having that openness, because of course you're dealing with adults, and some of them haven't been in school for quite some time, so that openness to learning I think is very critical. How does the training work then, Bill? I mean, do they have to come down to Florida once you decide, that you do like them, and they like you and they want to come aboard? How does the training work then?
We do finish off the last part of our training, Marty, in Florida here locally. And of course, I like to interact with each of the new franchise partners myself.
Sure.
Once we settle up and as you said, they like us and we like them, and we decide to go ahead and award a territory and they buy the franchise, we like to start, and most people are still gainfully employed doing whatever it is they're doing now.
Right.
So we like to start their training at home, online and or book and or study, that they can nibble away at and prepare, whether it's software, webinar based, whatever it may be. But we, depending on the brand, they've got 2 to 3 months of home study before they're ever prepared to come see us. And then we like to have them work through all the other nuances of getting ready to open the business, so that everything is prepared. And of course we offer pre-training manuals, and we do weekly guidance calls and mentoring them through that process. So by the time they come to Florida to visit us, and they're full of energy and all fired up and ready to go home and start marketing and turn the key and open their new business, they're actually ready to open and start dealing with customers. And that's our goal in the training process.
That's terrific. I think that's a great way to do it, because then I'm sure like when they come to, Florida, they have questions and things of that nature too, Bill, so they're, kind of prepared to, ask those questions and things like that. So I think that's a great model to set up the training in that manner. Because we're dealing with, 3 different types of opportunities, I guess the typical day, there's some similarities and there might be some differences between all 3. Is there such thing as a typical day for a franchisee?
Well, absolutely. A typical day in any given case is satisfying customers. You're solving problems. For the typical home inspector, they might have 2 or 3 appointments for inspections booked in a given day. So, their given day is going to consist of travel, doing their investigative inspection with their customers present. We insist or certainly encourage the customer to come with us so they can see everything we see. Finishing off the reports, so they've got a little bit of hands-on, a little bit of customer interaction, a little bit of computer hardware, software work, and finishing off a report, submitting it, and if they're not doing an actual inspection, then they're probably interacting, with some industry-related partners and doing some marketing activities. And that is very similar with the other brands. If I look at the life in a day of a eye care, home care franchise partner, they'll be doing some customer initial assessments, with people that are looking for possible care or looking for care for a loved one. They may be dropping in and visiting some existing customers with, that have caregivers there and seeing how things are going. Doing some marketing activities with various groups and or locations. So all 3 brands have similarities in that you're your own boss, you're controlling your day schedule, and of course you're as busy as you want to be by doing so.
You've been doing this for quite some time now, Bill, and I was mentioning to you earlier, the majority of our listeners, we call them aspiring franchipreneurs. What advice would you give them in their quest to buy a franchise? Because we do find that, most of them, doing this show such a long time, are very confused, particularly in the beginning stages, that there's so much out there today to choose from, and a lot of them just simply don't know where to begin. From everything you've learned up to this point, I mean, what advice would you give to our listeners in their quest to buy a franchise?
Well, that's an interesting question, and it's interesting comments. There is a ton of information out there, and the reality is, in my opinion, after being around this for 11 years and then prior experience in franchising myself, is to keep it simple. I would no sooner go put my name on the line and risk my life savings and potentially my own residence and that sort of thing on a business that I knew nothing about. I would not do that. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to keep it palatable. I'm going to have my end game in mind before I make my decision. And that means, am I 30 years old? Am I going to work for 30 more years? Do I want to be self-employed during this time? What can I build? What kind of value can I build into this? Is it resaleable? Can I sell this particular franchise? Will the franchisor support my efforts in that? So that's one of the discussions we like to have with our prospective franchise partners from the beginning. Number one, what is it you want to do? What makes you happy? Do you want to deal with people? Do you want to deal with product? We like to determine these things. How much money do you want to make? Are you replacing an income and looking for freedom? Do you want to make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and work hard and create a different lifestyle for yourself or your family? What are your objectives? And then we can plan around that accordingly. And, of course, the end game, which is very important, because a lot of people become self-employed, particularly if they're going to go flip burgers or something, and they work 20 hours a day. And 2 years later, they think, what did I get myself into?
Exactly.
And that's the last thing that you want to do. Okay, so we like to see people just, basically keep it simple. And at the end of the day, really nothing ventured, nothing gained. You have to make a decision.
Sure.
If this is something you want to do, you have to make a decision and proceed and, of course, put all your effort into it.
It's asking those deep-rooted questions, Bill, and we always say, on the show that, franchising is a means to an end. And, it's one of the things that really attracted me to, global franchise opportunities was, those home-based franchise opportunities is certainly a means to an end. There's a lot of people, like you say, they want to work from home. They want to be with their families. They want to spend more time with their families. They want to go to a baseball game or a Little League game or, be home when their child gets home from school, things like that, and that's important. And we find that sometimes they don't ask those deep-rooted questions. And you're right, they end up going into the wrong type of franchise opportunity, and so I think it's very important, isn't it, to ask those deep-rooted questions, isn't it?
Well, it is, and it's about a lifestyle. You're trying to create a lifestyle for yourself, and part of that, of course, is income. Part of it is a job satisfaction, if you will.
Right.
Am I going to be happy at the end of the day? Am I going to experience rejection? Am I going to be okay with people saying no to me?
Sure.
Am I going to be okay with dealing maybe with an unsatisfied customer occasionally? So do I have support? Can I call someone like Bill Redfern and have someone to talk to when I have a bad day, and maybe someone to talk to when I want to share our successes? So these are all very, they sound simple, but they're good questions for someone to ask anyone, whether they're buying a private business or a franchise. And fortunately, with a franchise or a good franchise, they should have that support network where they've always got someone that they can share their experiences with, good or bad or otherwise.
That's terrific. So you've had all this success in growing, the franchise opportunities, Bill. I mean, internationally. Where do you see global franchise opportunities, maybe like you could say like 3 to 5 years down the road?
3 to 5 years down the road, what we see is we're gaining more traction in the United States now, fortunately, where the economy has come back around full circle.
Right.
We see our growth being here domestic in the United States. We're going to add, different international countries year over year for sure. We have 3 more in the works here now that will likely close before year end. But the real focus is gaining more traction in the United States. We have full aspirations of a Buyer's Choice being the largest home inspection brand, not only in the Canadian market, we're the only ones that have gone international the way we have into so many countries, but certainly in the United States. We have a short-term objective of being the largest in the United States as well. We've got fantastic partnerships, within that industry that support our team, so well. We just need more coverage. We're at a point where we just need more boots on the ground. And that's really where we're at with the Buyer's Choice. The other 2 brands are very similar. iHandyman complements the home inspection brand, so the United States is really our focus for all 3 brands, Marty, here over the coming 3 to 5 years, and we see tremendous growth ahead of us.
That's terrific. How can our listeners get more information on global franchise opportunities, Bill? Are there any websites that you'd like them to go to or any numbers that you'd like them to call?
Sure, absolutely. Global franchise opportunities, you can find our website at gfobrands.com. You can call our office here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida at 954-876-1564. If you'd like to speak with me, I'd be happy to speak with you. Certainly give us a call here at the office. I'd be happy to speak with any potential franchisor interested, want to be entrepreneur types as you described.
And it's nice that they're able to speak to someone like yourself too, Bill. You know what I mean? You founded the company, and you don't get that a lot sometimes with certain franchise opportunities, to be able to speak to someone like yourself.
They're always going to speak with me, Marty, before we award a franchise.
That's fantastic. Well, I think that's terrific, and I've really enjoyed having you on the show, Bill. I'd already like to invite you back next year as you continue to grow, because I think these are some great franchise opportunities.
Marty, thank you so much. We enjoy the opportunity. We welcome the opportunity to come back again.
This has been my pleasure, Bill. Thank you. We'll be right back with more franchise interviews. Coming up on segment 2, you're going to hear what every franchipreneur needs to know before buying a franchise. We're going to play a clip from our popular Great Quotes in Franchising podcast right here on Franchise Interviews.
Franchisers, are you looking to reach aspiring entrepreneurs looking to buy a franchise? Are you looking to reach a highly educated audience on franchising? For over 8 years, Franchise Interviews has been giving an up-close, behind-the-scenes look at franchising and entrepreneurship through our website, franchiseinterviews.com, where you can hear and read interviews as well as get tips from some of the most successful sources in franchising. Our weekly franchise radio show where each week you get to hear a new interview with franchisers, franchisees, franchise authors, franchise experts, and attorneys, and our podcast, Great Quotes in Franchising. For more information, go to franchiseinterviews.com or call us at 610-905-2919. That's 610-905-2919.
Are you one of those special people who are willing to go after your dreams and goals? Are you ready to fulfill that dream of owning your own business with the security of a proven brand? The opportunity to take control of your future and own a Rita's Italian Ice franchise is within your reach.
Rita's is seeking success-oriented individuals who are ready to make a change in their life, and Rita's offers unparalleled training and support to assure your success. And did you know the frozen treat industry is a recession-proof industry, and there are Rita's in 23 states currently with 540 stores open. Rita's Italian Ice has been around for 25 years and is listed as a top-performing franchise by the Wall Street Journal.
Now here's the really good part. Rita's Italian Ice is a unique and amazing taste treat. It's smoother than a snow cone, and it combines ice with real fresh fruit. The real fruit adds dramatically to the taste, and it comes in over 40 flavors. The ice and fruit are mixed on site and made fresh daily, and it is delicious.
You'll want to know more about this exciting and successful franchise opportunity. Go to www.ownaritas.com and get all your questions answered. That's www.ownaritas.com to take control of your dreams and future today. You don't want to wait any longer to be a part of this adventure. www.ownaritas.com.
Hi, this is Connie McDermott, Administrative Assistant for Franchise Interviews, LLC, and you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Today's great quote in franchising is being brought to you by
Franchise Teacher.
Would you like to know how to franchise your concept or grow your franchise business?
Meet the experts at Franchise Teacher.
The goal of Franchise Teacher is to teach, coach, consult, and advise. The team of experts at Franchise Teacher will evaluate your business model and present you with a winning business strategy.
Franchise Teacher will help you decide whether or not your concept works and if it's franchisable. Franchise Teacher is proud to have over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors.
Franchise Teacher are developers of over a dozen franchise systems, which include brick and mortar as well as home-based concepts of nearly 3,000 combined franchise locations.
Whether you need to add more units or get more customers, Franchise Teacher can help. We will teach.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn our proven system.
Coach.
Franchise Teacher will help you provide a game plan to succeed.
Consult.
Franchise Teacher will make sure you stay on track.
And advise.
Franchise Teacher will help you learn from our over 30 years of experience in franchising as both franchisees and franchisors. Take advantage of our free, no-obligation phone consultation. Simply go to franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
That's franchiseteacher.com or call us at 561-385-3032.
Hi everyone, this is Marty McDermott, the president of Franchise Interviews, and welcome to another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, where each podcast you get to hear a great quote in franchising. You know, we've been hosting Franchise Interviews many years now, and during that time we've had some incredible quotes on our show. Today you're going to get to hear from Nick Friedman, who is the founder of College Hunks Hauling and Junk and Moving Franchise Opportunity. And Nick said something really quite brilliant on our show that we haven't heard in over a decade of doing franchise interviews. We started speaking about the 4 F's of franchising, and interesting enough, we ended up with 5 F's of franchising as we were doing the interview with Nick. And, you know, in marketing, we talk about the 4 P's of marketing, which is product, price, promotion, and place. So I thought this was really brilliant what Nick said. So here we go with Nick Friedman, the founder of College Hunks Hauling and Junk Moving Franchise Opportunity.
History.
What, you know, the majority of our listeners, we call them, Nick, we call them aspiring franchipreneurs. What types of characteristics do you look for in your franchisees?
You know, what I like to say is there's 4 F's when considering a franchise, which is also, I guess, starts with a letter F. So, you know, there's 4 F's that come out of franchise. And I think this is what a prospective franchise should think of when they're considering what franchise they want to pursue. And this is, quite frankly, I think what franchisors should consider when they're evaluating a prospective franchisee. So the first F is fit. You know, do they fit? In other words, do they have transferable skills that can make them effective at this business? Have they done anything in their prior professional or personal lives that would make them be successful in this type of business? The second piece is the family side. In other words, does their family support them in them pursuing this endeavor, whether it's their husband or wife or kids or parents? You know, do they believe in them? Because you don't want things to get tough in their inner circle to say, I told you so. You want them to, you know, kind of cheer them on to get through it. The financial piece is important. In other words, are they capitalized to be able to invest in the opportunity, and do they have realistic financial expectations? And then the last F is the fun factor. You know, can we have fun working with this individual? You know, franchising is very much like a partnership, even though that's not typically called that. So you got to have, you know, an alignment of vision and values to be able to enjoy working together. So that's really what we look for. You know, we want people that believe in the secret sauce that we've already developed. We don't want somebody to come tell us that they think it should be done differently. We want them to tell us that they believe in what we've created. And sure, we would, you know, want to continuously improve and encourage ideas, but not, you know, we want folks that believe in the system and are going to execute the system rather than trying to shortcut success by doing it, you know, doing it their own way. And I think that's, you know, really no different in our system than any other franchise model that is going to be successful long term. They need to really take into account those factors.
That's great, Nick. We have this great quotes and franchising podcast. Anytime we hear, you know, Michael Gerber's been in there a couple of times, but we're going to put that one in there because I haven't heard that in over a decade, and I think that's great advice to our listeners. It's really fantastic because it's true. I mean, you could really, your business, you could teach to anybody, couldn't you? I mean, pretty much, you know. But you know, it's interesting in putting those factors in there, you know, like family support, you know, and even fun. I haven't heard that, you know, but it should be an enjoyable business, and you know, because it is a stressful situation for the customers, I guess you got to be able to put a smile on your customer's face, don't you?
Absolutely. And I mean, you know, as you know, there's over 3,000 franchise opportunities out there. So, you know, what's going to separate one from the other? It's got to be something that you can enjoy. And I guess I'll grab another F out of there. I'm on a roll here. Fulfillment. Is it something that we're going to be fulfilled doing day in and day out? Because I think franchising is a lot like a gym membership. If you join the gym and you've got fitness goals, you're getting access to all types of equipment, personal trainers, coaches, workout groups, but you still got to go and show up and do the work. So if you buy a franchise, you're getting access to the business model in a box. You're getting access to trainers, coaches, fellow franchisees that you can, hold each other accountable with, but you still got to show up and put in the effort to execute that business model. So that's where I think those factors come into play.
Once you decide that, you do like them, and they like you, Nick, and there is a fit, what is the training like? I mean, do they typically come to Florida for training? How does that work? If you'd like to hear that whole interview with Nick Friedman of the College Hunks Hauling and Junk Moving franchise opportunity, all you have to do is go to franchiseinterviews.com, go to our franchise interviews by category page, and then go to our home repair and improvements page, and you'll be able to listen to that whole show with Nick Friedman. It was really a fantastic interview. It was great to finally have Nick on the show. And lastly, we'd just like to thank everyone for making this podcast such a big hit. It's hard to imagine. We've been doing it now over 10 years, and it's just amazing to see where the podcast has gone. So thanks everyone for listening, and we'll see you again soon with another edition of Great Quotes in Franchising, sponsored by Franchise Interviews. Take care, everyone.
Franchise Interviews. From Easton, Pennsylvania to Sydney, Australia, you're listening to Franchise Interviews. Franchise Interviews.
Why do most companies' surprises never work out in your favor? Instead, they usually add hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to your bill. At Jack Lair Heating, Cooling, and Electric, our no surprise guarantee means if we miss something and don't tell you prior to our agreement, we'll correct it at no cost to you. For emergency service, system maintenance, or to schedule an estimate for a new HVAC system, visit jacklair.com. That's jacklehr.com, an independent train dealer serving the Lehigh Valley area for 50 years.